Hi y'all. Welcome to another review. It has been a minute, as always. It always is a minute. Anyway, I wanted to come on here and talk about this book, An Untamed State by Roxane. Because I felt like if I wrote about this, it just wasn't going to be... I don't know, I just felt like if I wrote it, I wasn't going to get everything in the video that I, in the writing that I wanted to get in the writing. And I'm in my car because I'm staying the night at my friend's house and she has 2 small kids. And then I'm not used to small kids anymore. I have like a grown-ass adult son and a 16 about to be a 17-year-old kid son. So I just feel like I just don't have the patience anymore. I love my friend and I love her kids to death, but I ain't got the patience for no small kids anymore. And if you have kids, you done had small ones and they're adults, and they're adults now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm also doing it because it's better lighting right now, and I wanted to get here, faster, to actually do the video before I lost the light, but I had to stop at my mom's house because she was acting a fool over my phone, scared the shit out of my niece, and I had to go over there and check on her or whatever. But she's fine. She just being herself, dramatic as usual. So anyway, this book that we're going to be talking about today, or that I'm going to be talking about today, is An Untamed State by Roxane. So let's get into it, shall we? So, this is the second book that I wrote. I ain't never write shit in my life. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but this is the second book that I read by Miss Gay. And I gotta say, I'm gonna have to take a break from her books for a minute, because this book, Untamed State, I actually bought before I brought Difficult People and read, not Difficult People, Difficult Women, and read that. But it seems like she has this ongoing theme in her books. There is a lot of shit is about to rain. There's a lot of abuse and depression and things like that. So it's her books are hard to get through. So this is only my second book, but I feel like I'm gonna have to take a break from reading her for a minute, because if all her books are like this, then I ain't gonna survive. I ain't gonna survive reading them, and I'm gonna have to give her a little bit of a break. So I wrote some notes down, not a lot. What I pretty much did is wrote the names of the characters that I want to talk about, and basically the story itself. So I'll start off with the story itself, just to give you a little bit of what's going on. In An Untamed State, you have the main character, basically Mariella Jameson, who is her mother and her father is from Haiti. She and her brothers and her sisters were born in America. So I like to say, even though your parents are from another country, if you were born in the States, I like to say that you're American. I don't know. I don't have parents that are from, another country or anything like that. They were born here, I was born here, blah, blah, blah. But I just feel like, if your parents were from, Africa or from Haiti or, Jamaica or something like that, and you were born here, then I just feel like you're American. But anyway, Mariella's parents are from Haiti. They both came over to America when they were young, but like I said, she and her, am I about to say, am I even recording? The fuck? Oh, but she and her brothers and sisters was actually born here in the States. But they always, her parents always made sure that, that they always went back to Haiti and visit and stuff like that. Once they, made something of themselves, once that her father, got to be in a position where he could go back to his country and pretty much sit rich, pretty much. And in this, the story is based around Mariella, and you know, when you come inside of the story, Mixed Gay gives you, you know, she goes back and forth to the story. She hops from the present, you know, from the present into the past, and she tells you about them growing up and when they used to visit Haiti, you know, as children and stuff like that, how they really didn't feel it, you know, anything, because they were like American born and they were more Americanized, but their parents almost always made them, you know, go back and visit and stuff like that. And they always, you know, when they went back, they always felt like out of place, because when they went back to Haiti, they always saw like, you know, the poverty and, you know, the bad things that were going on in the country. But as Mariella got to be an adult, she became like most Americanized, you know, people that are, you know, that are from a country and then go back. You know, she was able to desensitize herself. Pretty much she, you know, her entire family, you know, they were pretty much like rich and stuff like that, you know, so they were able to pretty much like desensitize themselves from all the, you know, the bad things and the poverty that was going on around them, you know, because when they went back, you know, they pretty much, like I said, they were sitting rich, you know, her family, they were living in a mansion, you know, on top of this pretty hill, you know, and stuff like that. And she and her husband, which, you know, would like, you know, commute, you know, sometimes back and forth between America and Haiti, you know, when she would go back and visit her parents and stuff like that. But on this particular visit, when you go inside of the book, Mariella happens to get, you see the light flickering back and forth? It's about to get dark. I think I better hurry up, but I don't want to go too fast. So hopefully it won't get like too dark. But Mariella actually gets kidnapped, and that's what was going on in the country, because she, you know, when she got kidnapped, that's when she first got kidnapped, she went back to that, like, you know, how they always had like friends or, you know, or relatives or stuff like that that also got kidnapped, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, of course the family would like have to pay a ransom and, you know, to get them free and stuff like that. The issue with Mariella was her father took too long to pay the ransom. And I'll get to her father and why he took so long to pay the ransom. So instead of her, you know, staying the usual, I think she said the most, when she was kidnapped and, you know, she was, you know, things were being done to her and stuff like that. I think she said, I think one of her friends or relatives or something like that, I think the longest that someone stayed was like, you know, maybe a week or something. I think it was something to that effect. But Mariella actually was held for 13 days, tortured and held for 13 days because her father took too long to pay the ransom to get her, you know, free. And because her father was so rich, and because her kidnappers knew her father was so rich, they asked for more money for Mariella than they did, you know, than they usually did. And her father, being the jackass that he was very stubborn and didn't pay it in time, and she was held for 13 days. And over these 13 days, Mariella is pretty much tortured, abused physically and sexually. And it's bad. The story is, I would give a warning for this book. If you have triggers, I would definitely, strongly bypass this book. She doesn't go into a lot of sordid details about the actual things that happened to her, but because Miss Gay, I feel, is a very good storyteller. She actually gives you, the way she tells the story, you can actually imagine, you know, these things happening to this woman as she's being held for the, you know, over the course of these 13 days. And the people that had her, you know, they, not to excuse what they were doing, you know, but they were, you know, they were living in poverty. They were desperate. They had no qualms about what they were doing. And, you know, they took They didn't like people like Marielle and her family, you know, that set, like the man said, you know, the guy, the leader of the gang that kidnapped her, you know, you and your family, y'all sit pretty, you know, on these hills, and y'all look down upon us poor folk, and, you know, and y'all basically spit on us, you know, y'all don't think much of us. And they took their anger and their frustration out on this woman, and it was bad. It was bad. So I would definitely say, like, if you have any triggers or anything like that, I would definitely avoid reading this book. And like I said, she doesn't go into sort of details, but you can pretty much, you know, imagine what happened to her, you know, during the 13 days that she was held. And they pretty much, while they had Mariella, and because her father was so goddamn stubborn, in paying the ransom, you know, at a quicker rate, they took everything out on her. You know, they wanted to punish her because of the man that her father was, and, you know, and the money that she came from. And they did. And it was, the book was hard to get through sometimes. It was truly hard for me to get through this book, because I was just like, damn, you know, sometimes I really had to put it down, because I can't imagine, you know, going through something like that and surviving. And I'm glad that she did survive, but it was just terrible. But like I said, but the story itself pretty much revolves around, I know they probably looking at this lady like, why is she in her car talking to herself? But, you know, the story pretty much goes around, you know, Mariella being kidnapped, you know, what happens to her during, you know, the time that she's kidnapped, you know, what goes on with, like, you know, her family, and, you know, the kidnappers, and you know, and things like that. So that's pretty much what the story is about, and how this woman is able to survive during a kidnapping, and how she's able to come back to being herself after the kidnapping, after her father finally decides to pay the ransom, and, you know, she's set free, and, you know, how she's able to go back to being the person she was before the kidnapping happened. That was an excellent part of the story too. And it was hard. That was hard to get through too, because I just felt like after the kidnapping, people wanted her to just, like, there, like, even like her husband, her mother, you know, her father, you know, everybody kept saying, oh, you're strong, you'll get through this, you'll get through it. And it's just like, you just wanted to scream along with her, because it's like, do you people even realize what this woman went through, what happened to her while she was being held for those 13 days? Like, how dare you tell her that she'll get over it? Like, how the fuck do you tell somebody that? And you have no idea what happened to them. Like, it's like you wanted to actually, like, you wanted Miss Gay to write it where she actually, like, punched the shit out of somebody every time you said that to her. She had so much anger in her, rightfully so. She had so much anger in her after the kidnapping, because I felt like people felt that, okay, it's over, it's done, you know, you just need to move on with your life. And it's just like, oh my God, it was crazy reading it, you know. It was nuts. But the story itself is excellent. It's good. It's a wonderful story. Miss Gay does it. It's not a wonderful story. It's a wonderfully written story. Let me rephrase that. It's a wonderfully written story. Miss Gay has a way with words. She puts you through the emotions in this book. She really does. And like I said, there are some really tough times to get through, but all in all, I like the story. I won't say I enjoyed it. I like the story. It's excellent. It's excellent storytelling. But it's really how this woman just, survives all of this and comes to terms with, at the end of the day, what her country is. What the country her parents are from, is. Like, yeah, there's a beauty to Haiti, but there's also a darker, seedier, evil undertone. And after the things that happened to her, she realized that. So what I want to talk about, who I want to talk about, I'll go into some of the characters now. Let's start with I'm just going to talk about some of them, not all of them. I talked about the story. Her father. Oh God, her father was he was a terrible, terrible man. I'll talk about Mariella last, if I'm saying it right. I hope I'm saying it right. But anyway, I'll talk about her last. Her father. I never understood her father's point of view in taking so long to pay the ransom. His reason for taking so long to pay the ransom to have his own daughter freed was selfish, and it was horrible. He felt like, if I pay this ransom, they're going to take everything from me. I worked hard to get where I am, and I'm not just going to be handing my money over to, these low-life scum. That's what's his frame of thinking. And I totally could not get behind that reason at all, because I felt like that is your daughter. That is your daughter. And I don't care if I sweated, if I worked until my nails were no longer nails to get in the position where I was. If I go, rather I was, born here or born in another country. If I started off dirt poor and was able to make it to where I'm and my family are living comfortably, and I'm able to spread the wealth every now and then, I'm happy, I'm good. But if someone hurts my family, kidnap my family, and I have to pay some money, I'm paying that motherfucking money. Her father just, I didn't get his, I did not get his reasoning. I didn't understand it. For you to actually sit up there and say that you worked too hard to get where you were, and you weren't going to let these, you weren't going to let these thugs, bully you and da-da-da and da-da-da. These people had your daughter for 13 motherfucking days. 13 days, and the things that happened to her, if her father would have just paid that ransom right away, she would have been free going. And I just feel like none of that. Now, maybe the smacking around and, the stuff like that. And I'll get to Mariella, because she did have a smart mouth. Would have happened. But the abuse, the sexual abuse, the rape, oh my God. It's like none of these things would have, the torture. It would have never happened if her father would have just paid the ransom. That first day, that damn man called him and told him, this is how much I want for your daughter. You're fucking rich. You can afford, he could have afforded what that man asked of him. But his pride, his stubbornness, his straight ass ignorance. It was, and her feelings to her father at the end of this book were justified. I could no longer love and support a person that I feel, and rightfully so, abandoned me when I most needed them. You left me to the dogs. You left me, and this is the person who I am now. And you people had the nerve to tell me that I need to get over it and move on after this shit happened. Are you fucking kidding me? No. Oh, he was a jackass. I did not like her father. So her feelings towards her father at the end of that book, where she no longer wanted to deal with him, or pretty much no longer wanted to deal with the country, Haiti itself, rightfully justified. Her mother didn't get a whole lot of storyline in here, but her mother kind of like ties into her father. Her mother was kind of like, you know, whatever your father wants, whatever your father does, I'm just gonna go with it. And after the kidnapping, her father finally gave in once the mother was just like, look, get my motherfucking daughter from these people, pay this goddamn money, get my daughters from these people, and let's move on from this shit. But her mother was another person at the end of the kidnap I wanted to choke, because when this girl came home, you kept telling her she'll get over it, you're strong, you'll move on. Again, no, you don't know what happened to your daughter during these 13 days. For you to sit up there and tell her that she's going to get over it, forget you, lady. Forget you. Because no. It's, God. That's all I got to say about the mother. Because the mother is kind of like tied into the father. And I really wasn't feeling either one of them inside of this book. I feel like if you start off dirt poor, I feel like, and then you're able to make it, like I said, and you're able to make it, and you're able to make it to where, you know, you and your family are living comfortably, and you able to, you know, do some things outside of you and your family living comfortably. Don't forget where you came from. I'm not a big fan of that, because you've been blessed, and that blessing can get snatched right from your ass, and you're going to be right back down there with the gutter snakes that you keep calling, you know, you keep calling thugs and gutter snakes in the hood and all that other stuff. All that shit can get snatched away from you just like that. Just like that. And you're back down there. So be humble. And I think at some point in time, like, you know, the more money that her parents came into, they weren't humble anymore. In my opinion. That's just what I thought. Her husband. Oh, her husband. I liked the man enough, and she married a white guy. She was in a interracial marriage. I have no qualms about that, but he was kind of sort of like a wimp. Husband was a wimp, and it's getting dark, right? And I wasn't feeling old boy. I really wasn't feeling him too much. I liked him enough, but I wasn't feeling him enough. Mariella was a tough woman, and I don't know how long she stayed married to that dude as long as she was, because he was kind of a wimp. And after the kidnapping, he was another one, because they actually had a baby, and when she was kidnapped, you know, they snatched her right up out of the car, pretty much fucked the husband up. They didn't harm the baby, but you know, she had a baby when she was breastfeeding and everything, you know, when they kidnapped her. And he was so selfish after the fact, you know, and like he just didn't understand what she was going through. Like, this woman had PTSD. She was messed up after, rightfully so. She was messed up after this kidnapping, and this man did not get it. He did not understand it. He was another one that's just like, you know, you have your family, we have our son, you know, you have to, you know, you have to do this, you have to go to the doctor, you have to do this. And yes, she had to go to the doctor. Yes, she had to go to the doctor. She had to go get herself checked out. But this woman was held for 13 days, tortured for 13 days, sexually abused, gang raped. You don't come from that and want to be touched right away. And he didn't get that. He didn't understand that at all. And I was just like, dude, like, what the fuck are you not getting? What are you not understanding? Look at this dude behind me. All in my shot. Get your fat ass out my shot. You know, he just wasn't understanding it. He was not getting it. And there was one part in the book where he said, that pissed me off so bad, and I wanted her to punch his ass in the teeth so bad. He said to her, he said to his father, because his father was talking to him, and his father was trying to get him to understand, you have to understand what this woman went through. And you're not getting it. You're not understanding. You're not being supportive. You're being weak as fuck. And you're going to lose your wife, you know. And this man had the nerve to tell his father, well, I went through something too. Bitch, you went through something too. What? Your fucking wife was kidnapped in a foreign country and held for 13 goddamn days. 13 goddamn days. And she finally told him what happened. You know, towards the end of this book, she finally told him what happened to her. Which I felt that she should not have to have did. He should have just... I mean, you visited the country with her. You saw the poverty. You saw the desperation of these people. Bitch, you should have felt, you should have known what happened to her. And when he said that, I was like, yo, I wanted her to write a section where she was just like, fuck him up. Like, straight just fight him. Because how do you do that? How do you say something like that? I went through something too. No, bitch, you didn't. Only thing, yeah, you were stressed and you were worried because your wife was kidnapped. But you didn't go through what she went through. You didn't suffer like she suffered. Oh, he was a motherfucker when he said that. I said, this motherfucker, no, he didn't. I went through something too. Bitch, bye. Ugh. But her husband were finally able to work things out. He finally pulled his head out of his ass, and after his mother and his father was just like, look, bitch, your wife is going through some serious shit right now. You need to stop being a little punk ass bitch. Pull your head out your ass and get it together. And he finally did, and they were finally able to get past it. Not get past it, but they were finally able to, how I want to say, work through everything and move and not move past it, because you can't move past something like that. But and just were able to finally just, you know, come to some type of understanding, you know, able to get themselves together and cohabitate again as a married couple. Mariella. Whew. That was a strong woman, because I don't think if something like that would have... that was a strong woman. She was strong, and she was talking shit to her kidnappers. She was telling me, you gonna take me, but you gonna take me with it. I ain't going down without no fight. You gonna do some shit to me, but I ain't going down without no fight. You ain't gonna have me up in here acting like no. You know, you ain't gonna have me. You know, there were days when she couldn't get through what they did to her. It was bad, and it finally, she stayed strong during the kidnapping. She really did, but she she was talking shit. There were some times during the story she was talking shit to these people, and I was just like, girl, do you realize that you have been kidnapped? Please stop talking shit to these people so they can stop doing the things that they're doing to you. I kind of felt like sometimes she, and not to excuse what happened to her, but I just feel like sometimes she egged them on by her, you know, talking smart to them and, you know, and shit like that. Because every time she got out of pocket with them, every time she talked smart to them, they did worse, bad things to her. Really, really bad things to her. His whole family out in front of their house. I know they looking inside this car like, what is this girl doing? Mind your business. But, I liked Mariella and I disliked Mariella. Like, even after the kidnapping, her feelings towards her father, her parents, were justified. And some of her feelings towards her husband were justified as well, you know, after the kidnapping. But because she was this kind of like strong-willed type of a woman, sometimes she got in her own way. She put up her own walls and she kept running into these walls. And sometimes it was her own fault. I get that what happened to her was traumatizing and stuff like that, but I just felt like she should have been more susceptible to getting help right away, especially after what she went through, especially after what happened to her. And she wasn't. And I get she didn't want to be touched and all that other stuff, but I just felt like she should have just been more quicker to, if she would have been so stubborn and so bullheaded about things sometimes, her recovery would have been quicker. Not easier, quicker. Because nothing's easy after a situation like that. Nothing. So I had like a love-hate relationship with Mariella. I really, really did. Because she really did, you know, growing up, especially as she started to, you know, she herself started to make her own money and stuff like that. She really, even though she kept saying, I'm a daughter of Haiti and all this other stuff, she kind of like separated herself from like I said, from the poverty and the desperation, you know, of the country. So when she was kidnapped, you know, she finally had to realize, like, you know, this is a part of my parents' country, like the evil part, the bad part, the worst part. Beautifully told story, wonderfully written. Miss Gay really does take you through the emotions with this book. And like I said, if you have any triggers, I really suggest you bypass this book in the highest way possible. Because it might set something off for you. You know, you just never know when you're reading, you know, some stories sometimes. But it's a well-told story. It's done excellently. The story building, the characters, you can feel the characters, you can feel the frustration, you can feel the desperation of the country, you know, of the people in Haiti. You can feel the characters' emotions and things like that, you know, throughout the story. But damn, it's a hard story to get through. I'm really going to have to take a break from Miss Gay's books. I really, really am. I want to try some of her other books, but if any more of them are like this, then I can't deal, y'all. I got to take a break because my brain, my heart is just like, girl, listen, no, we can't take this depression all the goddamn time, especially if you're going through something. It's just like, well, damn. But An Untamed State, it's a good read. I liked it, and I do believe this is like her debut novel. Like, this is like her first book. It's good. It's good. And like I said, I read Difficult Women too, and that one was tough to get through. She deals with a lot of, you know, things women go through. And, you know, physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse. You know, she deals with a lot of things that we as women go through, and that's fine, you know. But damn, we ain't like this all the time. Whew. So that's it for me. An Untamed State by Roxane Gay. 5 stars, 5 whatevers. Excellent read. Grab you a copy if you know, if you're up to it. It's most definitely worth checking out. So that's it for me. I'm about to go inside this house before I lose light completely. And that's it. Later days. Bye, guys.